watching Color 10 News at 10 in high definition.
Thunderstorms pound Springfield tonight while other communities endure tornado warnings. Good evening. I'm Ashley Katz.
And I'm David Oliver. Good to have you joining us here for the broadcast. Color 10 storm team coverage tonight begins with Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner in the Weather Lab. Jamie?
And a look at what's going on right now. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue for parts of the line. For the portion of the line that's now making its way through Dent County, Salem, you're under the gun for high winds, heavy rain, maybe some hail, frequent lightning. And then further south down into Shannon County, also looking at the potential for severe weather as this line makes its way east into the northern two-thirds of the county. Could find some high winds, maybe as high as 60 miles per hour that could cause some damage. In addition, could find some hail, heavy rainfall, and frequent lightning strikes. Now, as we put this into motion, you can clearly see how this line of storms is quickly making its way on off towards the east. The other portion of the line further south actually beginning to lag the portion that's moving further more quickly to the east to the north. So this portion of the line down to the south actually slowing down a little bit, and I think areas like West Plains, maybe Harrison, east through Fulton County, we may begin to see more of a heavy rain concern as the night wears on. Now, as far as the tornado threat, tornado watch continues for areas along and east of this line through 3 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, and that tornado threat, while low, will still be present as far as what we can expect going forward. Again, it looks like maybe more of a flash flood threat developing as the night wears on, especially to our south, southern Missouri, and northern Arkansas. We'll talk more about that. And the severe weather threat tomorrow, the front's still to the west, and the risk for severe weather still present in Tuesday's forecast. I'll look at that coming up.
Jamie, thanks so much. Continuing our team coverage now at 10 right now. Crews are searching for survivors of a massive tornado that touched down in Oklahoma today. So far, 51 people are reported dead tonight. Marley Hall shows the widespread destruction.
Neighbors and first responders dig for survivors through piles of debris in what was a Moore, Oklahoma school. Hours earlier, a powerful tornado destroyed much of the town. At least 2 schools were heavily damaged by the storm, which struck just about 3 p.m. local time.
Our hearts are just broken for the parents that are wondering the state of their children that have been in the schools that have been hit today.
Countless homes were damaged, many reduced to rubble.
Our car's in where our house was. Everything's gone.
The storm formed just south of Oklahoma City and quickly gained strength as it moved east. By the time it hit Moore, it was a mile-wide EF4 tornado with winds up to 200 miles an hour.
This has turned into a massive tornado, as you can see in these live pictures.
From the air, you can see the path the twister carved through this neighborhood. Its track is colored light brown from all the dirt and splintered wood. Here on the ground, the destruction is overwhelming. There is debris everywhere you look, from pieces of homes to entire cars. Survivors were stunned.
My house is just gone, man, and I was in there. I don't know how to put it into words.
The tornado was on the ground for almost an hour before spinning itself out. Thomas Earsom was one of the first to respond.
We were pulling house walls off of people. There were people crawling out from everywhere and anywhere.
Cleanup is already underway as heavy equipment is used to clear roads and turn fields of debris into piles. It's a process that will take months. Recovery will take far longer. Marley Hall for CBS News, Moore, Oklahoma.
And that devastating tornado is drawing a response from the Ozarks tonight. Color 10's team coverage continues now with Kevin Schwaller to show how Convoy of Hope is helping.
And Convoy already has some of its crews in Oklahoma. I want you to take a look here in Springfield, though. These are some of Convoy's trucks. It sends aid all over the world. Right now, focused more locally in Oklahoma. We don't know if it's these 2 trucks for sure, but someone here at Convoy told us that the organization filled up 2 trucks this evening. And the Red Cross in this region is also getting ready to possibly send some aid over to Oklahoma.
With the coverage that we're seeing, the information we're getting, it's going to be a when the call comes and not just an if.
And when that call comes into the Southern Missouri Red Cross, it will be from a neighbor and a friend.
I've got some friends in my Red Cross family actually that are there that first thing I did was check on them.
Christopher Bowles is getting volunteers ready to help in the Ozarks and Oklahoma. He says even seasoned volunteers react to the devastation.
It's hard to watch the coverage of when you just see the flyovers. It's hard.
Because you know what it actually looks like.
Yeah, you know what it looks like, and we know what it's like to talk to the people who've experienced that, and we know what it's like to experience their pain with them.
Springfield is sharing the pain of Oklahoma. Red Cross Regional CEO Debbie Mead says after Hurricane Sandy, she worked alongside responders from the Oklahoma City area.
At that time, we said to each other, anything happens, we're really close, we'll support each other. So our thoughts are with them, and as soon as we know what's going to happen here, we'll be sending help.
This is the Convoy of Hope Operations Center, and it already had a crew en route to Oklahoma when the tornado that struck Moore, Oklahoma, touched down.
They're estimating that it's a lot larger than Joplin was.
Kirk Noonan with Convoy of Hope talked to us about initial reports from its crews on the ground. Convoy could be sending dozens of trucks to Oklahoma.
We are going what we would call all hands on deck, which means we're going to respond with all our resources and all our teams. There's a lot they're going through right now, and they need all the positive thoughts we can give them.
And already, Springfield is sending more than thoughts.
And Convoy plans to send at least one of the trucks from here to Oklahoma starting tomorrow morning. Also tomorrow, Red Cross will be looking at its response from this area. Right now, the Red Cross was holding off on sending anyone to Oklahoma. It wanted to see what these storms did in the Ozarks before leaving the Ozarks without those Red Cross crews. Reporting live in Springfield tonight, Kevin Schwaller, Color 10 News.
All right, Kevin, thanks. Other news, the next time storms do arrive and you need a safe place to go, know that there are several shelters in our area. 2 in Nixa are FEMA designated safe rooms. Laura Kennedy spent time at one of them today.
These are the doors to the Inman School FEMA tornado shelter. This is one of 2 locations where there are FEMA shelters in Nixa. The other one is at Matthews Elementary. Parents in the community say they are thankful that these are so close by. Monday night, the Inman School gym in Nixa was serving 2 roles, a place for the aptly named Storm volleyball team to practice, but also a fully functioning FEMA tornado shelter operated by Red Cross volunteers.
It is a very secure structure that is self-sustaining. It's got a generator. We have first aid equipment.
This will be the first tornado season for the shelter, and Nixa Schools wants to get the word out to the community that this structure is available when the storms arrive.
They are an EF5 rated structure, so they're supposed to withstand an EF5 tornado.
The building has certain features which make it so strong. The tornado safe room walls are built to withstand 250-mile-an-hour winds and are built 5 feet into the ground. Local mother Tricia Anderson says she feels safer with this structure close by.
Especially given what has happened earlier today in Moore, Oklahoma in the school system, I'm very comfortable having our school system with FEMA shelters.
A place for the storm to write out the storm warning. If you're in Springfield, you can go to Jeffries or Hillcrest School for a tornado shelter. Reporting in Nixa, Laura Kennedy.
Laura, thanks. By the way, you cannot take pets to a FEMA shelter. That's a federal regulation.
The National Weather Service confirms that a tornado touched down in the Ozarks overnight. This EF0 hit Lockwood, Missouri. That's up in Dade County with estimated wind speeds of 80 miles per hour. Power poles were torn down and debris was left behind. A roof was even torn off of a building at the city pool. A supermarket also had some damage and several trees were uprooted.
It was absolute shock, I guess. You know, you see and hear of tornadoes, and it's easy to say, I guess. It never happened to me, but it has happened, and you know, it really bothered us quite a bit.
Now, assessment teams say the path of this tornado was 1 mile long and 100 yards wide. No injuries were reported there in Lockwood. Be sure to stay with Color 10 for continuing coverage of this severe weather, both online and on air at ozarksfirst.com.
Tonight, new at 10, the Springfield City Council takes up 2 controversial issues tonight. One is going to go to voters and the other is not. It will now be up to the public to decide whether land near Grand and Campbell will be rezoned for a new Walmart neighborhood market. That election will happen on August 6th. An amendment to the city's current ordinance that would decriminalize marijuana failed. A bill that would have sent that ordinance to voters also failed tonight.
A gallon of gas now costs you over $4 in Springfield. That is the price, at least at this business here off Chestnut Expressway. Take a look. Some stores, though, still have gas that is at $3.97. The statewide average in Missouri sits at $3.76, and the national average is $3.67.
Still to come here on your news at 10, an Arkansas hog farm has caused heated debate about environmental concerns.
But everything about this facility is legal.
They followed the law, and I just don't understand why they're trying to crucify you for trying to be a farmer.
Tonight, what's being done in Missouri to prevent a similar controversy? Local news tonight, an Arkansas farmer is in the middle of an environmental controversy, even though he followed all of the state's laws.
Our Nathan Vickers explains tonight the tension between our right to farm and the right to decide which industries come to a community.
Now, what are these here on the side?
Well, these are coal sales also.
Okay. Jason Henson mortgaged his home and existing cattle farm to finance the new $4 million C&H hog facility in Mount Judy, Arkansas.
We've put all the new technologies that were available to us in this.
His presence on the Buffalo River watershed has sparked a heated debate in the region because of environmental concerns.
Probably just a matter of time before some mistake happens.
There's nothing good in it.
The Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality says Henson's farm won't create environmental problems. In fact, his 2,500 sow breeding operation is small by modern standards.
Anymore, this is like the smallest one anybody will be interested in doing.
In many cases, C&H went above and beyond what the law requires. For instance, these lagoons are supposed to be able to hold 180 days worth of waste and rainwater. They actually built it to hold 270 days.
We followed the law, and I just don't understand why they're trying to crucify you for trying to be a farmer.
Across the border, the Missouri Senate just passed a constitutional amendment that would guarantee Missourians a right to farm. Its Senate sponsor is Mike Parsons from Bolivar.
Well, you're still going to have regulations. I mean, counties, cities, DNR. Hopefully we'll see that this is a good thing for the state of Missouri.
The amendment would combat attempts to make types of farming illegal and still lets county governments regulate zoning for farms. But its opponents say it's a step toward deregulation.
If a county or a city wants to regulate through health ordinances or zoning ordinances what goes on within its borders, but they should be able to do that.
So what does a hog farm in Arkansas have to do with the right to farm in Missouri? For that answer, we asked Ozarks Water Watch President John Moore.
This is just another piece that's weighing on one side of this tension that inevitably will exist.
Moore says when the right to farm amendment goes before Missouri voters in 2014, citizens will have to decide where to draw the line between a right to farm and the right to decide what happens in the community.
Do we need to have stronger policy? Maybe we do. Maybe we do. But if we do that and people comply, should they have the right to do economic development to get their business going? I think they should.
So Missouri's application process for a concentrated animal feeding operation is a bit different than what they have done in Arkansas. In Missouri, new operations currently have to notify county leaders before their permit is approved. In Arkansas, there's no required county approval process.
And now back to tonight's weather with Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner. We were pretty lucky, at least here in the Ozarks tonight, Jamie.
The clouds that we saw today that made for sort of an ugly day in much of Missouri and northern Arkansas probably kept us from seeing more of an outbreak than we have seen this evening. Still, though, the threat of severe weather ongoing for a few more hours and possibly again on Tuesday. I'll look at that in your full forecast coming up.
And now weather with Color 10 News Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner.
All right, well, let's go right to radar, show you what's going on right now in the area. And I'm happy to say that a lot of us are now in the clear as far as severe weather is concerned. But we still have this line of strong to severe storms now sweeping across the remainder of Missouri. It's to about the Highway 63 corridor. And we've still got some pockets of potential severe weather. We have this severe thunderstorm warning right here for Shannon County, including the Eminence area for this portion of the line, which may contain some high winds to 60 miles per hour and possibly some hail as well. the storms that we've seen, while we've seen a lot of reports of hail, the hail has tended to be on the order of about dime to nickel size, and that's probably what we're going to get out of that storm too. Further southwest down the line here into Ozark County, this is the warning that's been issued since I spoke with you last. This severe thunderstorm warning you can see in effect for the Gainesville area. Again, high winds, the primary threat, maybe gusts as high as 60 miles per hour. But this storm actually looking a little bit stronger, so we could also maybe see a greater threat for some hail, maybe nickel to quarter size hail with that thunderstorm. It looks like the worst of it is now currently making its way across Gainesville and will continue to track on off towards the east. And it's really going to be these little bows in the line like you see right there in Shannon County, and then right here in Ozark County. Those are going to be the pockets where I'm going to be most concerned for maybe some severe weather, primarily a wind severe potential, but just given the atmospheric setup, you also have to watch those areas for maybe an isolated tornado threat. And there is that tornado watch that's in effect for basically areas along and east of that line through 3 o'clock in the morning. So if you live in West Plains, if you live down towards Viola and Fulton County, Baxter County, Marion County, you guys are still under that tornado watch, the threat of tornadoes, for probably a few more hours. It looks like the line is beginning to slow down as it's beginning to parallel the upper level steering currents, and we may see sort of a transition from severe weather potential to heavy rain and maybe some flash flood potential, especially down to the south, near and south of the state line. We talked about this last week. The models were very consistent. The patterns set up, and if you go back to other big outbreaks that we have seen in this country, in this area, like May of 2004, like May of 2011, we had the Joplin tornado. We had days before and after where we had severe weather. This was a very similar setup to what we're looking at right now. We still have this front to the west. That front's not actually going to move through until tomorrow. So we'll probably see these storms wind down. This is where we have that continued severe weather threat for a little bit longer, and then tomorrow that severe weather threat pretty much in the same area with the greater threat for severe weather probably from southeast Missouri down into central areas of Arkansas tomorrow. I'll take you hour by hour very quickly here. Start you off at 10 o'clock. Here's our line of storms. That will continue to make its way on off towards the east. I think we'll probably see that band of storms sort of lingering across northern Arkansas, and as the low-level jet kind of hits that, we'll probably see those storms continue probably well into the morning hours, maybe till about sunrise on Tuesday across at least northern Arkansas and possibly a bit further north. Then tomorrow, a lull in the activity in the morning with more scattered, strong to possibly severe storms moving across southern Missouri and northern Arkansas during the afternoon, moving out by the evening hours. Like today, tomorrow's severe weather dependent upon that cloud cover. If it holds firm, temperatures stay down, the instability stays lower, and our severe potential won't be as great. Rainfall totals, this is what we can expect over the next 24 hours. Heaviest of the rain in areas like West Plains, Mountain Home, Harrison, where we could pick up an additional ½ inch to maybe over an inch of rainfall. Here's the good news. After Tuesday, it gets a lot quieter, and it stays quiet, and it stays nice. Mostly sunny to partly cloudy days. Afternoon highs in the 70s, warming up into the 80s as we move through the Memorial Day weekend, and overnight lows on the comfortable side in the 50s, and then warming back into the low 60s by Memorial Day.
Well, at least we're going to get some good rainfall out of this.
We're getting another soaking, maybe more rain tomorrow, likely more rain tomorrow, and then after that, it looks like a long period there where a lot of the area can dry out.
Good for the holiday weekend, that's for sure. Jamie, thanks.
This one goes to left, and maybe a very good result for Jason Castro in the boxes.
The Kansas City Royals look to snap a losing streak in Texas.
Dan Lucy's got your highlights and your timeout responses next.
Now, the Chevy Dealer Sports Report with Dan Lucy.
Handful of high school baseball teams trying to beat the weather tonight and move one step closer to a Missouri State championship in Billings. The 12-8 Wildcats faced 12-10 Purdy in a Class II sectional. The Wildcats were up 1-0 in the second inning. Billings pitcher Dawson Meyer would strike out Kevin Walker swinging right here. That would end the second. Purdy's lefty Cameron Terry in bases loaded third inning trouble, but he would strike out Sawyer Hawkins right here swinging, and he would get out of that inning. Bottom of the third, Purdy trying to get something going, but Billings' Bryant Truman guns him down at second right here for the out. We move now to the fifth inning. The Wildcats would add to their lead. Nathan Smith lines this to right, goes past the outfielder out there to the fence. Austin Essex scores on the Smith triple. That makes it 2-0, and Billings goes on to win 2-0. In other sectional play tonight, Fair Grove shuts out Forsyth 1-0. The Catholic game at Cuba has been postponed until tomorrow. Kansas City Royals continue their 9-game road trip tonight. The Oakland A's swept the Royals over the weekend, so the Royals go into Houston series on a 3-game losing streak, and that nosedive has dropped the Royals to 500 in the win column and the win-loss column going into this action tonight. KC 4 games behind the Indians in the Central. The Royals had a 5-1 Jeremy Guthrie on the hill. KC gives them the lead. Second inning, Elliott Johnson singles to left, scoring Eric Hosmer to make it 1-0 Royals. Houston would take a 2-1 lead and then build on it in the third. Jason Castro with this opposite field homer to left into the Crawford boxes, a solo shot, and it was 3-1 Astros. But Kansas City would retake the lead with one swing of the bat in the fourth inning. Miguel Tejada deep to left. That's a 3-run shot, 4-3 Royals. But Houston would move back in front. Bottom of the fourth, Matt Dominguez would crank this one deep to left. It stays fair, and it's gone, a 3-run blast, 6-4 Houston, and the Astros hold on and win 6-5. So the Royals are now 20-21, and this series will continue tomorrow in Houston. The St. Louis Cardinals are in San Diego, and the Cardinals own a 2-1 fourth inning lead there. Shelby Miller got the start for St. Louis. The Springfield Cardinals in North Little Rock. The Card Xavier Scruggs drove in 2 runs in the first, and then Springfield holds on to win 2-1. Richie Castillo pitched into the 6th inning to get the victory there. Now back to our timeout at 6 o'clock. We talked about the St. Louis Cardinals calling up Tyler Lyons to replace pitcher Jaime Garcia, who went on the disabled list. The Cards picked 9th round draft pick Lyons and left the 1st round draft pick Michael Wacha back in Memphis. Nothing against Tyler Lyons, who spent the first part of 2012 here in Springfield, but the question is, why leave Wacha back in AAA? The answer is money. Pure and simple. If the Cards bring up Wacha now, they're going to have to start his clock, and he'll be eligible for free agency sooner. Lyons is 2-1 in Memphis, a 4.47 earned run average. Wacha 4-0 with a fantastic 1.89 earned run average. And we know what John Mozeliak's doing. He's saving money and rewarding Lyons, who's done a pretty good job on his climb through the minors. Right now, the Cards have the best record in the National League, lead the Central by 2.5 games. And I agree with Mozeliak. Give Lyons his cup of coffee in the bigs, reward him for all the work, and save Wacha, because the longer that he seasons at AAA, the better he'll be in St. Louis in the future. I ask for your opinions in Russ emails. Let Wacha season, and when we are in the hunt, bring him up and let his numbers start then for free agency. We can use him in case Chris Carpenter does not come back. Smart move by the Cards. That's why we have the best minor league system in baseball. Russ right there with some good comments.
You bet. All right. Thanks, Dan.
And we'll be right back.
Here are tonight's winning lottery numbers.
Well, Jamie, our severe threat isn't over just yet.
Not completely over, but here in the Springfield area, areas along and west of 65 is where the threat is over. Tornado watch continues, though, for areas along Highway 63. A low threat of tornadoes. I think mostly we're just going to find heavy rainfall and lightning.
And, of course, for any threat tomorrow, keep it tuned to Color 10 and OzarksFirst.com. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.